Japanese philosophy that I've been following pretty close. It's called Ikigai. Have you heard?
I thought that's where you're going.
Ikigai in the center kind of, encompasses what you need to do to find joy. First circle being do something that you love. Second being do something that the world needs. Third being do something that you're good at. And the fourth being do something you can get paid for. With the entirety of Ikigai as a subject, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it and experiences of like how you've utilized something like that.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing it up, man. I could talk about this stuff all day long. So yeah, Ikigai's a really lovely model. As a whole, I'm a fan. I do think it has some shortcomings, which I'll get to in a second. To your point, if you can answer those 4 questions and find something that lines up in all of those 4 segments that is Ikigai, you're winning, right? Like if that's all you do in life is figure out what that thing is right in the middle of that Venn diagram, that all 4 sections overlap, and you wake up each day and you do that even just a little bit, you're a winner, right? Like you could stop there and be just fine. What I'd say is this, though, is there are 2 kind of big models right now that Ikigai is definitely the more Eastern. And then in the West, there's one called PERMA that comes from a guy named Martin Seligman, and it's oriented around happiness. There's the course right now out of Yale that everybody with the quarantine right now, everyone's going on Coursera because they're offering it for free. And blah, 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 and that's all based on PERMA as well. They're both fine models. I'm not going to trounce either of them. But what I would say is this, is there is sort of a limitation, there's sort of a ceiling to them. And the way I kind of explain that is, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so at the bottom level, you have things like physiological and safety needs, right? And going back to corporate mindset thinking, money is actually a really reasonable way to address, right? Like if you are worried about being safe and being clothed and being fed and these kind of really base level sorts of things, yeah, we live in a capitalistic world, like it or not, but you're going to need money for that. Right? Like without money, it is hard to feed and clothe and shelter yourself. So kind of corporate mindset thinking is actually fairly reasonable at those lower levels. When you step into the middle levels, where you start talking about self-esteem and belonging and love and those sorts of things, that's where Ikigai and PERMA match up pretty well. If you can stay in a place of happiness, then those things naturally follow, right? If you're kind of genuinely happy, not just like the fake bullshit happy, but like really happy, you will belong. People will love you. You will have self-esteem. Like it's pretty hard to be really happy without self-esteem, right? So like those things match up pretty well. But then when you get to those upper levels of Maslow's, when you get into actualization and transcendence, that's where those things start falling off. Just the way corporate mindset thinking falls off at those middle, right? Like if all I'm trying to do is make money, my belonging, my self-esteem, right? Like, no, that's not going to work so well. We can see that. What's a little harder to see for a lot of people is if you follow those kind of Ikigai and PERMA models, they also fall off at that top level. Just doing something that you're good at, that makes money, etc., those 4 domains of Ikigai, does not necessarily mean you're fully self-actualized, right? It means you're doing some good work. Again, you're winning. You're doing better than most people, and that's why I like Ikigai, because it's definitely productive for where most people are at. But are you going to get to like a full level of self-actualization? Are you really going to get to a level of transcendence where you are operating at such a high level that everyone around you benefits, I don't see that with Ikigai. I don't see that with Perma. And so that's why I orient so heavily around this concept of joy. Because the more you really understand what your joy is individually, the more you operate in that, the more you understand the context by which you can be in that space, that then leads to self-actualization and transcendence. I'm matching that, you know, doing things that matter and make me money and that I'm good at, and, you know, all the Ikigai kind of guidelines or the Perma guidelines or whatever, right? It's, you can get there, and if you do that, it's pretty good. But there is a differentiation of that needs to be done. So going back to what I see the 20s as, since that's kind of your first real decade as an adult, with kind of your own money, with real independence, with that's the time to really learn to separate those two concepts as much as you can. Yes, this makes me happy, but is it joy? Yes, this is sex, but is it love? Right? And the more you can do that personally and professionally, again, when the stakes are lower, that's, in my mind, how you win your 20s. That's how you kind of take your 20s and make them the most productive, because the faster you can figure all that stuff out, just the more life you get to live in that way. And listen, if you can figure it out at 5, God bless, right? Like, well done. But I think it's really hard to do that when you're 5, because you still are reliant on your parents and you don't make your own money and right? So now that you're in your 20s, that is even available to you, that's the opportunity.